So imagine someone asks you, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
The absolute worst question.
Right. It really is. And instead of having this confident, mapped out plan, your mind just goes completely blank, like totally empty.
Yeah, you just kind of freeze up.
Exactly.
Mm.
And the thing is, you have a good job, you pay your bills, you might even have a title that, commands some respect.
On paper, everything looks great.
Right. On paper, it's great. But quietly, beneath the surface of all that success, you feel completely suffocated. You
Yeah.
wake up, you look around at a life that is absolutely not falling apart, and yet you carry this undeniable, persistent ache that something is just fundamentally missing.
That blankness is really profound. I mean, it's so common. The moment someone asks how work is going, you automatically default to, oh, I'm fine, it's good.
Well, you have to say that.
Yeah, because you don't even have the vocabulary to articulate the void you're feeling. It is a very specific, quiet kind of heaviness that just doesn't look like a crisis from the outside.
And that is exactly our mission for today's deep dive. We are exploring a source document called Solvahera, the Career Clarity Guide. And right up front, let's set some expectations for you.
Yeah, this isn't what you might think.
No, definitely not. This is not going to be some hyper-optimized five-step hustle plan to hack your way into a dream job. We are absolutely not doing that today,
Thank goodness for that.
right? Instead, we're taking a very grounded, gentle look at career confusion. And this is specifically tailored for capable, ambitious people, people who have worked incredibly hard to get where they are, but suddenly find themselves just staring at a brick wall.
And I think it's so important to validate that feeling. Feeling lost in your career, particularly when you are highly competent, it does not mean you're directionless.
Yeah.
Or broken, for that matter.
Which is such a relief to hear.
It really is. Almost universally, it points to a very natural evolution. You have simply outgrown the past version of yourself that made those initial career decisions, you know? The life you built hasn't shrunk, you have expanded.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because it is so refreshing to engage with material that doesn't just yell at you to wake up at 4 a.m. and grind harder.
Right, the whole hustle culture thing.
Exactly. We really need to look at the timeline of this confusion. There seems to be a massive difference between experiencing this feeling at 25 versus experiencing it at 35.
Oh, the psychological terrain completely changes. I mean, in your early 20s, uncertainty is essentially written into the social contract.
It's expected.
Totally expected. It feels spacious. You are culturally permitted, even encouraged, really, to explore, try on different hats, make a bunch of mistakes. The runway feels infinitely long.
But then you hit 30.
Right. As you cross into your late 20s, your 30s, and beyond, that cultural narrative abruptly narrows.
It's like the music stops, and you are supposed to have a permanent chair.
That's exactly it. There is this immense unspoken pressure that you should have it all figured out by now. The expectation is just this linear upward trajectory, and you look around, and because everyone else is projecting certainty, you assume they actually possess it.
Which makes you feel terrible.
It does. It makes your own internal confusion feel like a catastrophic personal failure. You internalize the idea that you are falling behind on this schedule that everyone else is somehow successfully keeping.
And what makes carrying that uncertainty so utterly exhausting is the sheer privacy of it. On the outside, your life is functioning perfectly.
Nobody sees the struggle.
Right. It makes me think of an analogy. Imagine you bought a perfectly tailored suit a decade ago. It cost a fortune, the fabric is exquisite, and every time you wear it, people stop to compliment you.
They're like, oh, you look so successful.
Exactly. They say, wow, you look absolutely amazing in that. But only you know that over the last 10 years, your body has changed, your posture has changed, and the suit is now completely suffocating.
Wow, yeah.
You can barely breathe. You can't even lift your arms. But how do you complain about a suit that society keeps telling you looks flawless?
What's fascinating here is the psychological toll that invisible suffocation takes. Performing competence in a role that no longer fits, it just drains your cognitive load.
It takes so much energy to fake it.
It really does. And because the suit looks so good to observers, any attempt to express your discomfort is usually met with these minimizing comments. Friends or family will say, well, at least you have a job in this economy, or, but you're so good at what you do.
Which instantly makes you feel like the most ungrateful person on the planet.
Oh, absolutely. It breeds this terrible cocktail of emotions. You experience deep guilt for not appreciating the stability you've built. You feel envy toward peers who seem genuinely energized by their work.
Like, why can't I just be happy like them?
Right. And ultimately, you just sink into a state of inertia. The emotional and financial cost of dismantling your current life to figure out a new path feels impossibly high. So, you just stay put and endure the discomfort.
That suffocation in the perfect suit is such a vivid picture of the symptoms. But it begs the question, if it fits so poorly now, who bought it in the first place? We need to transition from what this feels like to the root causes of why it happens.
Yeah, this raises a really important question. Who actually made the career choices you're currently living out?
Usually a teenager.
Essentially, yes. Early career trajectories are almost always decided by a much younger version of yourself. If you trace it back, the inputs you used at 21 were heavily influenced by external factors.
Like what your parents wanted.
Exactly. You chose a path based on what your parents valued, or what sounded prestigious at a dinner party, what promised financial security, or honestly, simply what you happened to get an A in during college.
So you picked a path based on the software you were running at the time.
That's a great way to put it.
And you have updated your operating system over the last decade, but you're still trying to run those old, glitchy programs. We are allowed to grow beyond our early choices. The bizarre part is that nobody explicitly tells us that.
No, the traditional script is so rigid. Choose a major, commit to an industry, and advance until you retire.
But wait, we also have to layer on the specific cultural pressures at play here, right?
Yes, particularly the double bind women face in the professional landscape. The professional world demands fierce ambition, yet simultaneously expects deep, vocal gratitude for every single opportunity granted.
You have to be aggressive, but also nice.
Right. You are required to be driven and decisive, but also endlessly adaptable and accommodating. Navigating that contradiction takes massive amounts of energy.
And then you add the internet to that already volatile mix, and it becomes unbearable. Online visibility accelerates this anxiety exponentially.
Oh, LinkedIn is the worst for this.
It really is. You log on to LinkedIn, and your feed is just an endless wall of polished announcements. I'm thrilled to announce my promotion. I'm humbled to launch my new venture. It completely sanitizes the professional journey.
It really does.
It hides all the quiet moments of paralyzing doubt, the failed projects, the crying in the bathroom. It presents this illusion of constant frictionless momentum that leaves you feeling incredibly isolated.
It's toxic positivity, professionally.
Yeah. But wait, I have to play devil's advocate here for a moment.
Yeah.
I can hear a certain type of listener, maybe, a pragmatic career coach, listening to this and rolling their eyes.
Oh, I know the type.
Right. They might say, wait, isn't it irresponsible to just throw away years of hard work just because we feel a low-grade dissatisfaction? Isn't that just a fear of hard work? Practically speaking, how do we know this isn't just plain old burnout?
I hear that criticism often, actually, but it completely misdiagnoses the mechanism of what is actually happening. We are talking about highly capable individuals here.
People who know how to work hard.
Exactly. These are people who know exactly how to execute, how to grind, how to deliver results. The paralysis they are experiencing does not stem from laziness or an aversion to effort. It stems from a profound fear of regret.
Okay, but how do we separate that fear of regret from just needing like a 2-week vacation? If someone is exhausted, maybe they just need rest, not a whole career pivot.
Well, burnout is a depletion of energy, right? You cannot do the work because your battery's at zero. The career confusion we are discussing, though, is a depletion of meaning.
Oh, that's a big distinction.
Yeah. You have the energy, but applying it to your current work feels like pouring water into a leaky bucket. You are terrified of investing another 5 years of your limited life into a new direction that might also turn out to be a massive mistake.
So you just freeze.
Right, your brain tries to guarantee the correct answer before you take a single step. You try to mathematically calculate your way into clarity while sitting perfectly still, but clarity defies that kind of logic. You can only discover it through movement.
Which is so frustrating for high achievers.
It is. The irony is that the fear of making a mistake keeps you frozen in a state that is already a mistake for your current self.
Because you're trying to solve an experiential problem with purely theoretical thinking. And because those root causes, the outdated identity, the cultural pressure, the paralyzing fear of regret, are so deeply embedded, they inevitably leak out into our daily behaviors.
You absolutely do.
We don't just feel confused, we act confused.
Mm.
The source material maps out 5 specific emotional patterns that manifest in our daily routines. And honestly, seeing these laid out is like looking into a very uncomfortable mirror.
It can be a little confronting.
Very. Let's start with pattern 1, the comparison loop.
Yeah. So you see this first in how we compulsively look at other people's trajectories. You find yourself spending like an inordinate amount of time scrolling through alumni updates or industry news.
Looking at what everyone else is doing.
Right. But pay attention to the emotional mechanism here. It isn't giving you inspiration, it's draining you. You are looking at others to borrow their direction because you haven't yet developed the vocabulary for your own desires.
You are trying on everyone else's tailored suits, hoping one will magically fit your life. But even if you manage to stop looking at everyone else, you might fall into pattern 2, the competence trap. This is incredibly insidious.
This is the one that catches so many people.
Yeah, because you are genuinely, objectively good at your current work. So you stay. You don't stay because the work fulfills you, but because society heavily rewards competence with praise, bonuses, and status. It feels fundamentally wrong to walk away from something you excel at.
Well, we are biologically wired to seek reward, and society makes the reward for competence very high. We conflate being highly skilled at a task with being meant to do that task indefinitely.
Which are 2 very different things.
Completely different. Staying in a role relying purely on competence without any underlying fulfillment, it just quietly depletes your soul over time.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Pattern 3, the perpetual research phase. You spend your evenings reading extensively about career pivots. You take 4 different personality tests.
Ooh, the Myers-Briggs phase.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You research graphic design, then marine biology, then nonprofit management, but it never ever converts into tangible action.
Let's look at the neurochemistry of that phase, actually. Researching a new career provides a quick dopamine hit. It feels like progress. Your brain says, look, we are solving the problem.
But we aren't.
No. The moment you consider taking real action, like sending a networking email or signing up for a class, cortisol spikes, because that requires vulnerability. So you retreat back to the safety of research. We use information gathering as a sophisticated shield against action.
It is a clarity of values problem masking itself as a lack of information problem. No amount of reading Wikipedia pages about other industries will answer the fundamental question of what matters to you.
So true.
Which leads us directly into pattern 4, the overwork escape. This is when you decide to throw yourself completely into your current unfulfilling job. You volunteer for extra committees. You answer emails at 11 p.m.
You manufacture busyness.
Right.
By filling every second of your day with urgent tasks, you eliminate the mental space required to confront the terrifying question of whether you're actually on the right path.
It's the equivalent of turning up the car radio to drown out a strange grinding noise coming from the engine.
That is a perfect analogy.
The loud music doesn't fix the car. It just temporarily masks the anxiety of knowing something is broken. You create a deafening professional noise so you don't have to listen to your own dissatisfaction. And when that noise finally stops, you hit pattern 5, the weekend dread.
Ah, the Sunday scary.
Yes, that heavy, sinking feeling that descends around 4 p.m. on Sunday.
It is crucial to understand the cognitive dissonance causing this dread. It is rarely proportional to the actual difficulty of the tasks waiting for you on Monday.
It's not about the spreadsheets.
No, the dread is the psychological weight of knowing you are actively wasting your potential, colliding with the comfortable gravity of your current paycheck. It is the cumulative exhaustion of performing a role that lacks meaning.
Recognizing even 1 or 2 of these patterns is a massive step. And they aren't meant to make you feel worse. They are diagnostic tools, pointing to where your energy is leaking.
Exactly, or clues.
So having diagnosed the problem and mapped the behavioral traps, how do we actually move forward without triggering a complete panic attack? We need to transition from analyzing the suffocation to actually loosening the tie.
Taking a breath.
Right. The source offers a calm framework for change, built around reflection and small actions.
And the word calm is operative there. These are not aggressive interrogations demanding an immediate 5-year plan. They are gentle prompts for honest self-inquiry, designed to bypass your defense mechanisms.
I want to highlight a few of the most poignant reflection prompts because they really force a perspective shift. The first one asks, if no one in your life had an opinion about your career, No parental expectations, no financial pressures, no peer comparisons. What kind of work would feel worth doing?
That is such a powerful question.
It strips away decades of accumulated noise.
It attempts to separate your intrinsic desires from your extrinsic programming. Another vital prompt is, what has staying in your current path cost you, quietly?
We never think about the cost of staying.
Never. Human beings are notoriously bad at risk assessment. We obsessively calculate the potential risks of leaving a job, losing income, losing status, failing, but we almost never calculate the guaranteed insidious cost of staying.
The erosion of your energy.
Yes, the fading of your curiosity, the shrinking of your sense of self.
The kicker for me is this one. When you imagine yourself at 50, looking back at this exact period of your life, what would you most regret not trying?
Ooh.
Right. That brilliantly uses the fear of long-term regret to cut right through the fear of making a short-term mistake today.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the goal of these questions is not to incite a dramatic resignation on Monday morning. It is to initiate a gradual process of realignment.
All steps.
Exactly. To guide that process, the framework lays out 5 gentle principles. Principle 1 is to separate urgency from reality. Your anxiety screaming that you must figure out the rest of your life today.
But you don't.
You really don't. Most career decisions are significantly less urgent than your nervous system claims.
Okay, principle 2 challenges how we frame the problem. Move from asking, what should I do, to what do I value? If you make your next career move based on what society says you should do, or chase external markers like a slightly higher salary, you will end up wearing a different poorly fitting suit in 3 years.
You'll just repeat the cycle.
You have to start by defining your internal values. Do you value autonomy, collaboration, deep focus?
Which naturally flows into principle 3. Treat exploration as information gathering, not a permanent commitment.
This is huge for the overthinkers.
Oh, absolutely. People stay paralyzed because their brain interprets reaching out to someone in a new field or taking a short introductory course as signing a binding 20-year contract. It triggers a massive threat response.
Like, if I take a coding class, I have to be a software engineer forever.
Right. You have to lower the stakes. These are just small, reversible experiments. You are entirely allowed to be curious without knowing the final destination.
And principle 4 is incredibly grounding. Notice what you keep returning to. We are often told to go find our passion as if it's a hidden treasure buried in the woods.
Like it's under a rock somewhere.
Exactly. But what themes, what problems, what specific topics do you naturally gravitate toward when no one is paying you or grading you? You don't need to manufacture a passion out of thin air. You usually just need to pay closer attention to what is already occupying your mental real estate.
And finally, principle 5. Build clarity in small, consistent steps. We have been conditioned by movies to expect an epiphany, a cinematic lightning bolt of realization.
Montage scene.
Yeah, the sudden clarity montage. But real clarity is built gradually through microactions. Spending 5 minutes a week having a totally honest, private check-in with yourself about how your work is genuinely feeling will yield exponentially more insight over 6 months than waiting around for a miraculous breakthrough.
You just have to trust the quiet process of consistent attention.
You really do.
So what does this all mean? If we synthesize everything we've explored today, the shift from the spaciousness of 25 to the silent pressure of 35, the root causes of our outdated decisions, the daily traps of overwork and comparison, and this gentle step-by-step framework.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but the ultimate takeaway should feel like a deep exhale for you. You are not behind schedule. You are not broken because you don't have a perfect plan. You have not failed. You are simply a person in the messy, ongoing middle of becoming someone new.
I love that phrasing, becoming someone new.
And navigating that transition requires immense care, patience, and honesty, not a rigid corporate timeline.
The deeply ingrained expectation that the right path will easily and obviously present itself if you are just smart enough or work hard enough. It's a destructive myth.
It really is.
You have to actively, yet gently, develop a patient relationship with your own uncertainty. You are allowed to not know the answer right now. You are allowed to change your mind about what you want.
I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to mull over this week, building directly on that idea of noticing what you naturally return to. Think about your typical workday.
Okay, let's think about it.
What if the very things you currently dismiss as your guilty pleasure distractions or your procrastination habits when you're supposed to be doing your actual job are in fact the most honest roadmap to your next career move?
Wow, That is an incredibly revealing lens to look through.
Right. Like, think about it. If you were constantly avoiding your corporate spreadsheets to read deep dive articles about urban design and city planning.
Or if you're putting off writing a tedious quarterly report so you can organize and optimize your friend's messy small business schedule for free.
Exactly. What if those supposed distractions aren't signs of laziness or a lack of discipline? What if they are actually your internal compass, desperately trying to point you toward the door, trying to give you directions out of the tailored suit that no longer fits?
The activities we instinctively turn to in order to avoid the work we do not love are very often the exact coordinates pointing toward the work we are meant to do.
It's so true.
They reveal our natural aptitudes and intrinsic interests before our rational brain can filter them out.
Exactly. So your assignment this week is simple. Pay very close attention to your distractions. Notice where your mind wanders when it's off the leash.
That's a great assignment.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Be patient with yourself, give yourself full permission to be a little confused, and we will catch you next time.